Welcome back, my friends. This is Michael, and today we will be learning about my favorite protein, the dopamine receptor. Now, why is this my favorite protein? This protein is one of the most important proteins because it helps you sleep, learn, control your body, and much more. The dopamine receptor is part of a system called the dopamine system. The dopamine system is basically a group of nerve cells, most of which originate in the midbrain. They send their axons to different parts of the brain where they plug into particular functions. To simplify things, there are three main branches of this four-brain dopamine system. There's a branch that goes all the way to the frontal cortex, where it stimulates cognitive function and enhances the efficiency of certain forms of thinking and working memory. There's another branch which goes to a structure called the striatum. This branch controls motor control and function. The third important branch of the dopamine system goes to structures in the limbic system of the brain, which is the emotion center of the brain. Now it's time to learn about the structure of the dopamine receptor. Dopamine receptors are a class of G-protein coupled receptors that are prominent in the nervous system. The neurotransmitter dopamine is the primary endogenous ligand for the dopamine receptors. Abnormal dopamine receptor signaling is implicated in several neuropsychiatric disorders. G-protein coupled receptors are the largest and most diverse group of membrane receptors in eukaryotes. These cell surface receptors act like an inbox for messages in the form of light energy, peptides, lipids, sugars, and proteins. Each receptor is linked to a specific cellular biochemical pathway. While numerous receptors are found in most cells, each receptor will only bind with ligands of a particular structure. This is similar to how locks only accept specifically shaped keys. When a ligand binds to its corresponding receptor, it activates or inhibits the receptor's associated biochemical pathway. In this case, the G-protein coupled receptor is the dopamine receptor, and the ligand is dopamine. The dopamine receptor structure is very important because the only ligand that it can bind to is dopamine. The human body needs to release dopamine for various tasks. Dopamine is important for your body's motor control. A lack of dopamine in the brain leads to uncoordinated movements throughout the body, while excess dopamine causes uncontrollable movements such as body tics. Parkinson's disease is a degenerative, progressive disorder that affects nerve cells in deep parts of the brain. Nerve cells in this part of the brain produce the neurotransmitter dopamine and are responsible for relaying messages that plan the body's control and movement. For reasons not yet known, the dopamine-producing nerve cells of the deep brain begin to die off in some individuals. When 80% of dopamine is lost, Parkinson's symptoms such as tremor, slowness, stiffness, and balance problems occur. A study of rested versus sleep-deprived people showed that sleep-deprived people had less dopamine binding to the dopamine receptors in their brain. This means that dopamine and dopamine receptors have a direct impact on deprivation of sleep. There are, however, other neurotransmitters that are also related to sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation and Parkinson's disease share many of the same symptoms. This is because people with Parkinson's and people that are sleep deprived both have low levels of dopamine in their systems. The reward system in our brain can be accelerated by using drugs. This means that we are addicted to the rush of dopamine rather than the drug, but the drug is the way that we get the rush of the dopamine. These illegal drugs release lots of dopamine into our system. The dopamine released into our system then binds to dopamine receptors. Then the dopamine receptors send signals of happiness and reward down a signaling pathway. This persuades users to keep using the drug so they can keep on getting that rush of dopamine and stay happy. Thank you guys, and I hope that was helpful.